All the reaction and, of course, analysis coming. 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. I just wonder, after the turbulent time United have had, what that will do, Premier League-wise, just to the whole group, to get a result like that.
Yeah, it should give them a bit of confidence. You know, going to a Chelsea team that have been playing really well, especially coming away with a point, is, you know, it can only be positive, really. They've got a few fixtures now where they're very winnable as well. I think looking at the next 8, 9, 10 fixtures, well, you say they're winnable, you hope they're winnable with the squad they've got, the players they've got, a new coach coming in to, you know, just to refresh them a little bit, revitalise them a little bit. Going to places like Chelsea and getting a point is a positive result.
But if I said to you at the start of the week, after all that had gone on, away game in the Champions League to win the group and go through and then get a point at the leaders, everyone would have taken that, wouldn't they? Yeah,
of course you would. You definitely take it. As I said, a turbulent week, losing the manager isn't great. And Michael's done well, hasn't he? It's not been vintage football, I'd say, but it's been football that's got us 2 good results that say you need to get a little bit of confidence. The team has been a mess the last 5 or 6 weeks, really not knowing which way they're going to play, no real structure about them. Now they need to settle down into some kind of system. Maybe today he's found a way of playing. I don't know what the new manager will do. So they need to go on from this now. Going to Chelsea is a tough place to go, so they need to crack on and really kick on them.
Yeah, I think it's horses for courses. You know, that result there, that performance against Chelsea, a very, very hard side to play against at the moment. The players wouldn't have enjoyed that. There's no way the players would have enjoyed playing that way, but they'd enjoy getting the point, putting their foot in, working it hard defensively. They can't play that way against the next, as you say, next 10 fixtures. They'll play different. They'll play a bit more open, they'll play better, and they'll try and enjoy the game a bit more. But I know Manchester United players will be down going back home on that coach saying, well, if we play like that every week, it ain't going to be enjoyable. But it was right for the one-off game that was needed today and after the great result they got in the week. But there is so much more they need to do if they're going to really get themselves back where they need to be. And that will happen in time with a new manager.
That's really interesting. And not for a one-off game, but over a period of time, do managers worry about whether the players are enjoying it and responding to it?
No, they'll enjoy winning. Everyone enjoys winning, but I think players will play better and you'll get more wins if they love what they're doing. If they're you know, they'll, every now and again, games like that, under these circumstances, where their club is at the moment, that is the right performance for today. When they pick the side, Ronaldo out before the game, I'm looking at it from a manager's point of view, thinking, OK, those 3 solidness in midfield is where Chelsea's strengths are. They got the 2 little inside forwards, the 2 deep midfield players. That's their strength, and he's tried to smother that, and he did that today. But you can't expect Man United to go and play like that week in and week out against Crystal Palace, whoever they're playing. They're going to take the game to them, and that's where the club's got to go forward, and that's where United fans wouldn't stand for that every week. They really wouldn't.
I think when I look back at our team, it's probably a little bit of a myth that you think you go into every game gung-ho, trying to score goals, trying to win games by playing brilliant football. Sometimes you have to have performances like that. You have to respect who you were playing against. And there's many...
But the difference was you had an identity at the time with the way you would play.
We changed, Steve. You think of Man United, you probably think 4-4-2, going for it, wide players. Sometimes you go to Chelsea, you go to Barcelona, you go to Liverpool, the best teams, 4-5-1. Yeah. And you stay in the game. It's not always the best. You probably show more quality than they have done today. But sometimes it's just a scruffy win. Go away, respect the opposition, sit behind the ball. You might just get 1 chance, 2 chances, but you've got to take them.
And what about Glenn's point about players? Did you used to enjoy that then?
It was the way we had to win sometimes. Now, look, if you come away from win, great.
My point is you can't put a team out, a Man United team, with the talent that's in that squad, you can't put a team out like that every week to play that way and try and win and get up the league and win a league. That's my point. Today was, for me, Michael's got it absolutely spot on. Whoever picked the team has got it absolutely spot on for today's performance against Chelsea in the form that they're in. Paul, you're correct. They're a great side at the moment, in a great run. They couldn't come here today and be expansive. But for going forward, I know Manchester United fans are not going to stand for playing that way, because there's going to be games when they play that way and they're going to lose. So it's a stepping stone, but it's not the template for United to go forward.
Where do you stand on all this?
I'm always balancing it, and I totally get what the lads are saying. I'm just thinking, for the future, sometimes I think you've got to have less of a short-term... OK, the best chance they had of getting points today was doing what they did. So I sit here and agree with that.
But moving forward now.
But I just wonder what, you know, if your end game is to be up there with Manchester City, Liverpool, play the way they do, you know, which they don't really change for many teams at the moment. You look at Liverpool, they don't change when they go away. If you want to get to that level, that's my next question to the lads. Well, is this short-term thinking then just going to try to grab a point, which is fine, which is good. They've grabbed the point, so, you know, I'm sat here sort of... But they're better. They've got to want more than that in the future.
Are they better than that, Michael?
No, but how do they get better than what they are at the minute?
Well, I think it has to be coaching.
It can't be playing like that, can it?
You think in the midfield area, can that team compete with Manchester City? Can it compete with Liverpool, keeping the ball the way they do? The quality's not there, Michael.
No, and I don't disagree that the quality's not there, but what I'm saying is, if that's Burnley, if that's Brighton, if that's a lot of teams in this league, I get why you would chop and change and think, right, we're playing Norwich at home this week, we're going to play a bit more. Now we're going to Man City, let's show it. But I just think if you're trying to get to that top level, like Manchester United are, I can't then accept that you're going to keep going to half the teams in the league away from home or against the good teams at home and play like that or play that team. Because you're never going to get better.
They won't play like that. It's only against the best teams they're going to play like that. They get forced to play like that.
But how do they improve if they keep...
Well, that's got to be down to a coach. If you've got the same squad of players, and we're saying this squad of players potentially are as good as Chelsea's, it then has to be down to the coach.
To play that system and play that team was the best they could do today. And if Chelsea had a couple of shots from distance and they didn't create any chances, and then you go, well, that's working. But it wasn't like that. We could be sitting here quite easily. De Gea's made a great save with his foot. He's tapped one on the bar. Rudiger at the end there. If United have lost that game, we're sitting here going, my word, they can't play like that.
And they've learned nothing.
Exactly. So what I'm saying, they've got the point which they needed. The point was more important than the performance or the way they played. They needed a point at Chelsea. Now they've got a good run of fixtures where I think they're going to go, right, there's a platform now to go and let's improve it, whoever the manager is. But at this moment in time, they were very, very close. I mean, the first goal doesn't happen normally. That's a schoolboy error from Jorginho. They break away and they get themselves 1-0 up. You know, half-time, there's no way they'd have been sitting there thinking we're going to go 1-0 up in this game the way we're playing. They'd only had 2 touches in Chelsea's box in the first half. And those touches are not possessions. They're probably a flick off somebody's toe. That was their performance up until half-time. They're now 1-0 up. They get the result, but they cannot play that way and expect to actually progress back to the United where they want to be. And it's going to take time, but I don't think United fans will stand for that against lesser teams.
They won't. No, there's no way they will. And my point is that's the way. With this squad of players, that's the way they have to get points against the big teams. It's the only way they could do it. They can't go toe-to-toe with them. Now, they'll go next week and they'll play against...
Well, Thursday night is Arsenal, for instance.
Yeah.
So what would you do differently on Thursday to what we saw today?
We'd play centre-forward for a start. I think Cristiano will play. I think the 2 wide players will still probably play. Possibly play 2 of the midfield players instead of 3 of them. So Fernandes comes in as well, instead of a Matic or Fred. And they've been more attacking. But Arsenal are nowhere near the quality of Chelsea. They're nowhere near the quality of Liverpool. They're nowhere near the quality of Manchester City. I think that's a terrible result today for Chelsea. I think it's a shocking result for them at home, going for the league against a United team who have been battered, really battered the last 4 or 5 weeks. I think it's a terrible result for Chelsea.
It is, yeah. No, definitely. If they're going with the chance to winning the league, of course it is. But the way they played, I don't think Tuchel would be too upset about it.
No.
That cutting edge of getting people in the box, if Lukaku's flying and he's fit, maybe he scores 2 tap-ins. They could have easily won that game, Chelsea. Easily won that game. Playing not so great. You can't turn around and say United could have easily won that game. No way. It was by hook or by crook they were going to get a result. Look at the goal that they did score. And if Rudiger puts that in at the last kick of the game, then that's fouled. Has that fouled, the way United went out to play? we're saying they've got their point. They've got their point. They're a little bit fortunate, in my opinion. But going forward, they have got to get a template to play. With the players they've got, they should be playing, they should be closer to them top teams. They should be closer to Chelsea at this moment in time. We're talking, I know Ali's gone, but we're talking 3 years down the line. And I don't see the progression that should have been there.
Do you think the quality's in the squad, Glenn?
I think that, look at the quality they've got in that squad. Players, just think about them. You know, I know there's a few injured, but if you've got Pogba, Fernandes, you've got Ronaldo, Cavani, my word, there's young talent as well coming through. Sancho, Greenwood.
And my worry is we keep saying we think they've got the talent. We think they've got the squad to challenge. We've said that for probably 6 or 7 months now. We said
they finished second last year.
They finished second, I know, yeah. It was a funny league last year, wasn't it, with COVID and stuff. But yeah, of course they finished second. They got to Europa League finals, probably not where they want to be, and they failed to win it. But my worry is we keep saying we think we've got a squad to challenge, and it's okay saying it. They've got to go out and prove it. A lot of these players have not won a thing. Cristiano's won, Cavani's won, I'm sure, PSG, Varane's won. The rest of them, the young players especially, they don't even look. They haven't got close to winning. They've still got to prove that for me.
But I think that if you're going to play in a more expansive way, a way that Manchester United are going to play in the future, this is what we're going to play in the future. So the new manager's going to come in and he's going to have his ideas. Right, now this is it. It might fail in certain ways, and then we can bring someone in and things like that. How can these players that you've all just reeled off, they are world class. There's some unbelievably talented players. But if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, or if you're someone playing up front today, and you've got a back four that full-backs don't move, you've got 3 sit in midfield, and then you go and say to Ronaldo or Fernando, go and do your stuff. Hang on a minute, there's 3 of us up here. You know, we're not built to attack. So you're almost just buying brilliant players, putting them in positions, and then say, go and... If anything, you've got to be giving them the ball, play even more attacking. That's your strength of your team.
We need a proper coach, don't we? We need a proper coach.
Well, you do, yeah.
You think if United had Pep Guardiola, do you think they'd be winning the league?
They'd be going close, yeah.
Yeah.
They'd be close.
Would they, with this set of players, you think?
Definitely, yeah. I think any of Klopp, Tuchel or Guardiola, I think this team, I think we'd be talking a 4-horse race.
Conte.
Yeah.
Conte?
Yeah, I think it'd be a 4-horse race this year. In fact, we all thought before that everyone was saying, tell you what, this is a 4-horse race this year, and they've just fallen off straight away.
Very quickly, before we hear from David De Gea, would you have enjoyed playing for Manchester United in your role today?
No, you can't. Like, we were at Old Trafford for the City game the other day, and all of a sudden it's just exactly the same. They leave Cristiano Ronaldo up front on his own, and that's almost abuse. Having someone that good in your team and then playing everyone defensively and just saying, that's all right, we'll just hope that he nicks a goal, he'll end up being average. If you just keep leaving him on, or all these good players, just have 2 of them playing and everyone else is just going to defend, they'll start putting in bad performance because they've got no one to pass to, got no options. You're chipping the ball from 50 yards away when they need little pass, you know, they need the whole team to come up and help them. It's almost abusing the good players that they've got, and that's the last thing you need to do. If anything, expose your rubbish. Go and have the ball. Go and play all your best players. Get Pogba. Find ways of getting world-class players into your team. Get Pogba, get Fernandes, get Ronaldo. Get them all on the pitch as best as you can. And OK, if you let a few goals in because Bailly's not great or Wan-Bissaka or whoever it might be, then fine, you can replace them. But at the minute, all they do is, because they're nervous and scared, I find all they do is just bulk up their defensive back line with loads more sitting midfielders, loads of defenders, and then almost abuse their great players up front, leaving half of them on the bench and 1 or 2 to play. Oh, they've got no chance.
Is that because they're not good enough, Michael, though, because they're not coached well enough?
Who, the players?
What do you think?
Players playing today?
You're here to answer the questions. What do you think?
I think it's a bit of both, Steve.
Do you?
Yeah, because I think them 3 midfield players today, your midfield player, your role as a midfield player is to make your team play football. Did them 3, are they good enough to make your team play good football?
Nah, not them 3, no. Not as a balance, no, it's too far the other way. Sometimes we talk about balance and you're thinking about offensive players. Oh, they can't play together, them 3 players. But today, it's the other way round. That's what I'm trying to say. That team is Man United, the Man United midfield, cannot go and progress playing them 3 in midfield.
That's what I'm saying. It's everything short-term thinking.
Yeah.
Everything's short-term at the minute. It's trying to get a point at Chelsea. Do you know what? Forget Chelsea. Let's get beat 3-0. But I think you can go and get better in the future by just like...
by learning something, you mean?
Yeah, this is rubbish today. I'm not... It's a point, and everyone's like, oh, well done. But it's... Where have they progressed at all? That, we've all agreed, this is never, ever, ever going to be the right players or that system or anything. They're never going to use that. That's just for a one-off today. It's a point, but they're not getting better doing that. I think they should just go and play their best. Go the other way.
But
play all your best players.
Chelsea
don't get a kick of the ball
someone's going to come
today.
until the end of the season, and then it could change again. If
A minute. It's trying to get a point at Chelsea. Do you know what? Forget Chelsea. Let's get beat 3-0. But I think you can go and get better in the future by just like...
by learning something, you mean?
Yeah, this is rubbish today. I'm not... It's a point, and everyone's like, oh, well done. But it's... Where have they progressed at all? That, we've all agreed, this is never, ever, ever going to be the right players or that system or anything. They're never going to use that. That's just for a one-off today. It's a point, but they're not getting better doing that. I think they should just go and play their best... Go the other way. Play all your best players. Chelsea don't get a kick of the ball
today. Someone's going to come
today.
until the end of the season, and then it could change again if a different manager comes in.
We'll have some form of identity. This is the way we're going to play in the future.
To be honest,
at the minute,
Steve,
it's chops and changes every week.
Yeah, that's modern day football. That's not just Manchester United. So many teams now chop your manager, and then no one comes in. Players have it. They get used to adjusting to them. Then another one comes in. It's not just Manchester United. So that's the modern day way that it is. Whether I agree with it, probably don't. But what we're trying to say is it was a good point for Manchester United. The way they played, the team they set out, they did a job. The two fullbacks, if they're playing Arsenal in midweek, those two fullbacks, if they play again, they stayed at home all day long today. And they were told to stay at home. Are they now going to go, we go expansive, you push up? Now, those two centre-backs are going to... Look how Lindelof started the game. He was dreadful. He nearly gave 2 goals away. Are you going to let them be exposed against Arsenal, even, against Arsenal, Aubameyang, whoever, Lacazette? So there's a real slight... It's all right, so there's got to be stepping stones to where they're going to go. But that isn't, for me, a stepping stone. That's a one-off... We didn't get beat at Chelsea against a very good side, but now it's like draw a line under that. Where do we go from here? Because Michael's right, those Ronaldos and Cavani when he's fit again, and those young boys, they want the ball. They've gone to Man United to be successful, but they've gone also to be excited and play the way they love to play. And they're going to be stifled if that's the way they go every game.
If you go the other way and play all these great players, the opposition won't hardly get the ball. You can turn on his head, be aggressive, and that's, they'll have 75% of the ball then. But
that's Paul's question. Have they got the players?
Well, they might
have.
have. These great players, so-called great players, they played against Liverpool.
Yeah, but 2 or 3 of the great players played. They're not playing. They're not getting all the best players on the pitch.
That type of performance you will get today from this group of players because they're not quite at the quality. Yeah. You'll see them next week against these teams, and they'll be brave. They'll be showboating. They'll be playing nice football. But when it comes down to the proper games, I just don't think they're quite good enough.
Hence why they play like they did today.
Hence why they had to go against these teams and play like that. And I know what you're saying, Michael, but if they...
But they've lost
think about the Liverpool game. What Michael's saying, they'll go and they'll play, they'll be expansive. They got beat 5-0. They can't afford to keep doing it. They can't afford to do that against teams like this. They've got to find a way. And which is what we did. But we did it, by the way. At times, we were brilliant and great against all these teams, winning 5-0. But like I said before, you've got to respect these teams. You've got to respect Chelsea are flying. We wouldn't have gone there and be open of throwing people in the box all the time because you're going to get hammered. You've got to do what you've got in front of you. You've got to deal with that. And this team can't go toe-to-toe with Chelsea at the minute. They can't go toe-to-toe with Manchester City. They can't go toe-to-toe with Liverpool. When they tried to do that, they tried to get us Liverpool, absolutely obliterated.
But how do you get back to being a Manchester United of old then?
They need a coach and better players.
Because that's just a one-off. Today's just a one-off. You can't, that's not improving Manchester United as a team. It's getting them a point, but it's not long-term thinking.
No, I don't think it is long-term thinking. I agree with that, but the position confidence is the lows of snake's belly at the minute, aren't they? I keep saying they've been battered for weeks, and just going to a place like that today, it didn't matter how they did it. And it's all fine lines, isn't it? You think about it, as Glenn said. Hudson-Odoi scores that first goal, they're all over the place again. It could have been another Manchester City. It could have been another Liverpool.
I mean, sorry, Paul, there's the caption. Look, the guys have put the caption up for us. There's only one green W on there.
By the way, only Newcastle.
Games.
Only Newcastle have got a worse record in the last 8 games.
So, you know, that is proof why today Michael Carrick, whoever picked the team, got it right to get a point. Because they were for me, they were outboxed, but they didn't get knocked out. But that's why, because of that. They've lost, they've drawn, they've lost. You can see it there. So it's not going to turn from that list we're seeing now to the next 8 games, win. Yeah. It might do.
And Paul's point is the damage. You talked about that last season when they lost heavily at home to Tottenham, didn't you? The way they changed after that.
It killed them for weeks. It killed them for weeks. Yeah, confidence just totally goes, and that's why I question the quality. You look at them results: Aston Villa, Everton, Leicester. They're not even the top class teams. That's why I question if the quality's there. We keep saying it. I've said it myself at the start of the season. I think we've got a team to challenge to go for the Premier League, and they've yet to prove it to me. There's 3 or 4 players that yet are winners. Yeah. Like I said, Varane, De Gea's won the league, Cristiano, Pogba, winners. The rest of them have still got to prove it, and they almost play like they are winners, and they've won nothing yet.
It's interesting because those 4 you've mentioned all didn't play today. Your Pogbas, your Varanes, you know, they're top quality. Cavani, you know, Ronaldo didn't start. So that was that team that they put out today, and they've got a point. So it is a stepping stone. As a manager, you're looking at it and go, right, but where do we go now? How do we take this forward? The next 8 games, we win 6 of them games, and we draw 1 and might lose 1. And that's where United have got to be over the next period of time with a new manager, or if Michael stays there, whoever's involved with that group of players. And you would think if they get them talented players back, those winners back, that they can and they are capable of getting that sort of run together. And they can play more expansive, and they can, but they've got to be coached. They've got to be organised in doing it. And it hasn't been that way.
That will give them confidence today. It has to. Going to Chelsea, OK, they didn't play great, they weren't brilliant, but you saw, I think you got a feeling at the end of the game now. I think Michael was happy with it. I think the rest of the players were happy with it. Going to the fans, McTominay throwing his shirt in. It wasn't great. I probably wouldn't watch the game again if I was them. But at the end of the day, they've gone to a Chelsea team, top of the league, and got a point. Now that can breed confidence now coming into the weeks ahead.
Fascinating discussion, one we will continue after we've got the thoughts of the interim United manager, Michael Carrick.
Well, Michael, in difficult circumstances, you've dragged a pretty decent week out of your players. How did you see that this afternoon?
Disappointed, actually, when you're in front in a game like this to have it taken away from you like it was is disappointed. Immensely proud of the players, immensely proud of the whole group, the staff and the players all week in difficult situation and trying to make the best of it. You know, can't hide from that. It's been tough at times, but we've made the best of it, and I'm immensely proud of the response and the way we've gone about it this week. But yeah, there's that little bit of feeling really that we came here to win the game. You know, we had a plan. We came here to win the game. We were positive in our mindset and our attitude for that. So we were a little bit disappointed. Yeah, I can't lie.
So when you say taken away from you the way it was, is that you saying not a penalty?
I don't think it was a penalty. No, I don't think it was a penalty at all. I don't know what, in my opinion, counts in this and now. Really,
it's interesting to hear it.
But yeah. I don't think it was a penalty. I think they've obviously had a lot of play and they've had shots. David's had probably two saves, which I kind of knew before the game. At some point, he's going to have to make 1 or 2 for us. But other than that, I have to make 1 or 2. Other than that, I felt quite comfortable in the game. I have to say, of course, we want to be better in terms of having the ball in possession and. You know, I'm not getting carried away with that. Was a fantastic all-round performance, but I thought we defended ever so well. I thought the attitude was absolutely top from the boys and putting bodies on the line when we had to and sticking together and working back and tracking back. And we've obviously got to do the other side a little bit better, but I cannot fault the boys one bit from today.
So tactically, like in terms of your plan, did the game kind of go how you expected it to go? Did you think it would be a counter-attacking day, if you like?
We came here to take more of the ball. We came here to to put our foot on the ball and hide the ball at times as much as we could. But yeah, of course, I understood what the game was going to bring, and yeah, probably in some ways it panned out that way. I wanted us to be a little bit more dangerous on the break, and if you have a few more moments than we did, but it's a good Chelsea team, you know. They're playing well. They've had a great run of results, and so to come away disappointed and feel like we've left something out there, in some ways is a positive, you know.
To look at one or two of the things that have maybe been better this afternoon and better this week, the pressing typified by the goal.
I think there's a lot made of that pressing, to be honest. I think it's
too much.
I don't know. I don't really. I get there's times when we haven't been good this season. I totally agree with that. But I think over time we've pressed ever so well as a team. Certainly in recent seasons, and at times this season we have. But when something gets thrown out there, it's easy to everyone just agree with it and repeat what's been said. But that's how it is. I expect the criticism to grow when something is suggested. That's the nature of the business. But we know that's not true. But we also are realistic, and we know that it hasn't been good enough at times. So I'm not defending that at all. But pretty much every game, bar 2 or 3, I'd say we've set out to press. We did that today. I thought we won balls high up the pitch.